Nvidia GeForce Now has technically existed longer than Stadia and Microsoft xCloud, but after some time testing, it's now officially launched, and we've gone hands-on to give you the lowdown. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Google on YouTube. Be sure to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and enable notifications with the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. From the outset, Nvidia GeForce Now has been in beta or preview for a little while now already, so this is the full launch product. It comes in two flavours, a free time limited tier that gives you access to your games at 1080p in 60-minute increments. Then there's the $4.99 Founders Edition that gives you up to 4 hours dedicated gaming time per session, with ray tracing via an RTX 2080 card at up to 1080p, so no 4K resolution support unfortunately. The other caveat here is that you need an existing game library unless you're happy to play only free-to-play titles or spend some cash to build your game library. It does, however, let you access your Origin, Steam, Uplay, Epic Games libraries for the largest catalogue of games on any game streaming service available or in preview mode. Like Stadia, GeForce Now works across devices but has support for almost all Android smartphones, tablets, desktop, and even includes Nvidia Shield Android TV hardware. So it's kind of got a bit of an advantage in that regard. Each interface follows a similar pattern, but it is a little inconsistent and relies heavily upon Steam, Uplay, and so on and so forth. This does mean though that it can be quite convoluted and a bit finicky depending on which device you're using at the time to play your games. We predominantly tested on mobile and desktop and found that each service differed in how it handled mobile and tablet devices. Luckily, Steam has big picture mode, which makes things easier, but we're getting ahead of ourselves as you do need to add your existing games to your GeForce Now library to get playing. Not all games are compatible either, as you'll find out. GeForce Now will determine which service you launch a game from, which means that if you own a game on Steam, but not on Origin, and it launches from Origin, you actually won't be able to play your games, which is a major frustration. You might also encounter plenty of sign-in prompts from each service, which does become pretty tiresome after a while, but we do realise it is a necessary evil. Although once you do sign into each account, you shouldn't be logged out unless an issue is encountered. The main GeForce Now interface on mobile is simple and easy to navigate, and once you've launched into your games, they load in a 16:9 aspect ratio, as is often the case with most games still. Nvidia has made it easy to play without a controller or mouse too, by adding on-screen control layouts so you can game without extra accessories. They are difficult to get to grips with though, and one thing I will say for certain is you're better off picking up a controller. When gaming with a connected Bluetooth gamepad, I must admit the experience is exceptional, but that does of course depend on your network connection. Nvidia suggests at least a 50 megabits per second connection for optimum performance, which is quite high, but 25 megabits is the suggested minimum for gameplay. Although we are aware that you can game on 10 megabit per second connections, just expect appropriate performance. On a 300 megabits per second connection, as you can imagine, I encountered very few issues when playing my favourite titles. The frame rate was smooth, the connection remained solid, and it was good as playing on Stadia with a connection such as mine. Nvidia GeForce Now does support 4G connections, and then gaming on a weaker 4G connection was of course far worse. The latency jumped up massively and the experience was nowhere near perfect. Warnings will pop up of course if your connection starts to weaken and warn you that performance is going to be affected. That said, in optimal conditions the frame rate was stable and it felt great being able to play PC exclusives and AAA titles on my mobile with a gamepad. You will be at a disadvantage though, as we all know that a mouse and keyboard is far superior in online FPS titles. Even with some issues, I must admit GeForce Now looks to be a more PC focused streaming service that is definitely worth trying out if you have a solid library of PC games, which tend to be cheaper. This feels more like a complement to Stadia rather than outright competition, especially as you can play for free for up to 60 minutes at a time if you want to. With that in mind, it's definitely worth trying out for yourself if you haven't done so. If you have already, let us know down in the comment section below how you found it. With all of that said though, this is a solid game streaming platform and one we'll be keeping a close eye on as it develops over time. Of course, I hope you enjoyed this quick overview and hands-on. As per usual though, this is Damien with 9 to 5 Google. Thanks again for watching. Until next time though, I will speak to you later.